I'm going to cover a number of things in this video, and I do have my list compiled. Some of these are what I'm going to discuss today. Some of these are from a day or two ago. But anyway, I did my Deutschland hat on for this first one. Now I'm going to, something I touched on but didn't really go into was what they call false friends. Now these are words that you might think you know what they mean, but they might mean something slightly different. I'm going to give you two examples. Now, like in German, gross well, it means like large. And großen Hotelzimmer, large hotel room. But if you said in English, the hotel room was gross. That has a different meaning. Or you could say, mein großen Oma, my great grandma. Or if you say my great grandma was gross, you can see where I'm going with this. Also for like Duscher, or like Duscher is a shower in German. Douche is a shower in French. But douche has a slightly different meaning in English than it does in French and German. But you kind of get the idea that just because you hear a word, it might not translate with the exact same meaning. It's just they call those false friends. These words you just got to be kind of careful of. Another one is like the word for a gift. Gift in English is a present, but gift in German is poison. So you got to be kind of careful. You got to be kind of careful with certain words. Let me see. There's about 4 or 5 other James Godmans here on YouTube. One guy, I thought he was going to take off, and I don't see him making any more videos. He's got about 4 or 5 videos up, and he just stopped and anything for a couple of weeks. So I don't know quite what he's got in mind. Hey, dude, if you want to grow your channel, hey, just keep going. You just keep posting videos until you eventually get somewhere. You try to learn from the videos that get all the views, and we'll learn for the ones that don't get the views. That's what you got to do. But there was James Godman had his family up in Las Vegas. Most of his videos are baseball games. Just search my name, and these will come up. There's another guy. I'm pretty sure it's his photographer in New York or Chicago. I think he's still got a YouTube channel, but he doesn't post anything here on YouTube in a couple of years. But they share the same name with me. It was a James Godman. We used to exchange comments over on Facebook. This guy was a manager over in somewhere in the UK, manager of a grocery store, I think. It was just kind of weird, seeing each other's name, the same name on the same YouTube channel. I'm sure he got a little bit of amusement out of it. Let's see, false friends. Generation Z. That's Sabina Halsenfelder's latest latest video. I haven't watched it all, but she talked about this Generation Z. She said that kids growing up now. I'm not sure exactly the age. I'm guessing it's probably my grandson's age. He's 16. He'll be 17 in a few months. I'm guessing it's this. That one can't really call it the internet generation. I'll get to that in a second. We call that. We'll call this smartphone generation. That's what I'll call it, for lack of a better term. I mean, kids that didn't know anything other than than having a smartphone. They're getting their education from what they're watching on from YouTube videos and throughout the internet, YouTube videos and stuff. But anyway, now the internet actually go back to the mid 1960s. It really didn't become. It started out with like scientists and engineers talking to each other, and then eventually it grew into what we have today. I remember the early days of the BBS boards. There would be a phone number. You could take a computer with a 300 baud modem, hook it to a phone line, get log onto a BBS board. There were BBS boards. Somebody would just take like a IBM 286, put some special software on there, hook it to a phone line, and they'd start up a BBS board. That was popular back through the mid 80s. Through the mid 80s, late 80s, the internet started taking off, into what we have today. In 20 years from now, who knows what the world will look like. Let's see. So my meters, Hobo Joe here. Monument Hill. Yeah, sometime I need to get down there before they have that NASCAR race down there. Monument Hill, Hobo Joe, Cow Puncher. They're places that are my bucket list to make videos from. I'll do that in the foreseeable future. voltmeters. Now let me show you a couple of different voltmeters. This is one I got it. This is this is an old Harbor Freight one. See, the display comes up, but I got a weird reading on there. But I've had this thing for a long time. It's like a $25 meter I've had for a long time. So this is Chinese-made crap, Harbor Freight stuff. It does come up, but I get weird readings on the display, and I really don't trust it. But like I said, it's not an expensive meter, and I've had it for a while. Now another one, let me show you this one. Now I thought this one had gone bad. The display wouldn't come up. I said, well, what the hell? Let me just put a couple batteries in there. It takes like 2 AAA batteries. And I put the batteries in there, turned it on, and the display comes up. And what I'm going to do, one of the problems I've got is keeping good probes. Let me turn that off. Oh, I thought it did. But anyway, I might have plugged some probes in there. Just hook it to either 120 volts, 12 volts DC. Just see if it still works, see if it gives me an accurate reading. Now I've got a good, my main meter, the one I keep on my truck all the time. This used to be that meter, but when this one quit, I used another one. I want to keep a backup meter in there. Now my backup meter yesterday, I've got good leads on it because I keep it in a little case that it came in, and I looked for it in my pickup, but I couldn't find it. Now I don't know if I've put it somewhere and just forgot. I don't know if somebody stole it. I'm not sure if somebody stole it because I had it hidden. So I might have to dig through a bunch of other stuff. And there's other stuff I pick up. Like there's about 3 or 4 CB radios in there. It might only be worth $20. But if somebody, I think so, if they were going to steal my backup meter, they would have stole some other stuff in there. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure it out myself. It's like a $35 meter when I got off of Amazon. This one is a $20, $30 Amazon meter. So they're not real expensive. Now I've had the Fluke meters. Fluke is a well-known. It's an expensive meter. It's like the Cadillac, the Mercedes or Cadillac of service tools. Now I've had the Fieldpiece. Again, Fieldpiece is another recognized name. But to me, they seem to hold up just about as long as these cheap Chinese-made crap meters. So if you can get one of these for $20, $30, and if it quits on you, you don't weep too hard. Now, if you get a Fieldpiece or a Fluke that you paid couple $100 for, and that thing, or somebody steals it. Now, if somebody steals, one of these cheap meters, they don't have very much. But if they steal something, if they steal a Fluke meter that you paid a couple $100 for, well, most people recognize the name brand, and they're going to pay more for something that works. That's better, a more well-known name on those meters. I said, I'm going to keep looking for it. I'll probably just assume it's stolen, and then when I get a bit of money ahead, I'll just buy another one. That one had a DC meter on there, a DC amp meter. Now this one has a DC voltmeter. It's got a capacitor checker and a thermometer. This one, the amp meter is alternating current. Now the last one I got had an AC and a DC amp meter. You can get those off of Amazon. That one I gave like $30, $35 for it, something like that. So it really wasn't a very expensive meter. Let's see, it's about tuna fish. The heat supposed to get hot. Now, if you do come here to the desert and are not acclimatized, I was born in Phoenix. I know how to handle the heat. I've been out with 120 degrees, and I know how not to succumb to the elements, as one might say. We'll get to another thing here in a second. Now, if you do come, even if you're acclimatized, and you want to take water, pop, have liquids with you. So I've covered that quite a number of times. If you come to the desert, be prepared for a hot, dry environment to have plenty of water with you. That's just one of the things. Now, another thing I've covered is a lot of these popular hiking trails throughout the valley. And one thing they've started to do in the past couple of years, the TV news has made a big deal about this. Now, they'll close these parks. I mean, not now. I mean, now they're open as long as the park's open. What they've started doing the past... Stupid meter's doing something. I think that's what was wrong. It would stay on. It would beep. I think that's why I stopped using it. It would beep. I think there's something goofy with a switch on it. I think that's what's wrong with it. I may just take the batteries out and just keep it in my pickup, and if I need it as a backup meter, put some batteries in there. That's probably what I'll do then. But anyway, let me get back to the heat. Now, what some of these parks, they have the hiking trails. Not all of them, a lot of them that have the hiking trails throughout the valley. Well, when it gets hot, they'll close the parks from maybe about 11 o'clock to maybe about 4 or 5 when it cools back down. If you get out there, you want to start your hike early. Now, instead of closing the parks, I put this argument out there a number of times. Instead of closing them, they should put out their big old signs out there warning about the heat and say, look, if you hike in the heat and you get in trouble, then the paramedics will come and get you, but they're gonna wait until it's safe for them to get out there and hike. Because you get a paramedic, like a fireman, a paramedic with all his gear, his turnout gear and stuff out in the heat. Man, it's hard on them. There's a lot of them, succumb to the heat, with all their gear and stuff on there. Even if they get out with like me, I got my t-shirt and like that, even out in the heat, it can kind of get to you. Even if you're climatized, but what they should do. Now there are people that like to go out in the heat. There are people that know how not to kill themselves. What they should do is put up big old signs out there saying that if you get in trouble, you will get rescued, but you may be sitting there while till the paramedics can actually get up there and do it safely. I've periodically made that comment because there are people that like me that know how not to kill themselves. Let's see, I covered Generation Z. That's the kids growing up now. What Sabina Hossenfelder was saying, that kids growing up now are getting severely dumbed down by the internet. And what do you think? You think? Ask my grandson Damien. Are you smarter than your mom? That's Damien? Are you smarter than me, or am I smarter than you? Well, I hope my 60 plus years of breathing air on this planet would be worth something. I don't know. Let me cover the last thing here because I think I got everything. No, Hobo Joe, that's down there in Buckeye. That's not the last thing. I need to get down there as my tribute to Adam the Woo. I've intended to do that for about the past 2 months. If you don't know, Adam the Woo was a very, very prominent YouTube content creator, and he left this early. Very, very sad because I really liked the guy. Looked like a nice guy, like a guy would. Well, Adam the Woo was a teetotaler. I think earlier in his life he probably did consume alcohol. He may have done a few drugs. I don't know. I kind of got that impression something had probably happened, and he probably just flat out quit. But anyway, if he drank beer, I'd probably sit down and drink a beer with him or whatever. Sometime I need to get to several places for my tribute for Adam the Woo. Last thing I want to cover is my first time I posted. I'm looking something here, and it's not what I thought it was. But anyway, first time I posted one of these a number of years ago. I posted it over on Facebook, and I would think my daughter would have got this. Now my daughter has inherited my dark, sarcastic humor, and probably the first time I did post this, she became somewhat concerned, and she didn't get it. Now I need to have an operation. This is a fairly routine procedure. Normally fairly painless. Normally it's a routine procedure. Normally painless. It's generally pretty fast recovery. Generally few side effects. Now I'm gonna have to have a hair amputation. I'll probably do it myself. Just got a pair of clippers, just run over my hair, amputate my hair, and I anticipate a few side effects. I anticipate a fairly rapid recovery from my hair amputation. Anyway, das Leben ist ein Abenteuer. C'est la vie. Ciao. Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye, Dios. Mahalo. Bye.